Thank God for doing the kind of practice. He went all the way to Atlanta to come back to Milwaukee. It is crazy. He spent more time in Milwaukee. But one thing I want to do is, I've known Coach Dawg for quite some time, and the level that he's teaching and the things we want to go to, that it reminds me of what we've been taught about the well. Now, a lot of us, how many of y'all from down south know a little bit about wells? Well, do y'all know about the well? You should dip that bucket. See, the well we're talking about is a Gershon well. We talk about the finances being to a point that you have to put a rock on it to contain it. We talk about like the oil Gershons. That's the type of finance, that's the type of income we're talking about having. That's the type of access we're talking about having. So when I look at the rainy day, we appreciate ex-alderman, but I think you helped in the beginning, started it, and doing the hip hop week. We could pay homage to that. We also pay homage to, come on. Alderman Sanders, is he in the house? I know he was in the David there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother, thank God for you and pushing it through. So, and also, I'm here today to introduce like a son to me, and I can tell you a 1,000 stories how he, even with my finances and different things. I thought I know a little bit about money until he took me to a whole other level. And that's what we want to talk about tonight. So, whatever on your mind, whatever question you have, we're gonna have a Q&A afterwards. We're gonna talk for about an hour. But if you could just do me one thing and just give him because he's been coming, guys, to Milwaukee on his own time, his own piece. He does it once a month. He comes and he teaches here.
Okay.
Every first Saturday. So if you want to take it to a point, we got kids that was 18 have 800 credit score. Raise your hand. 18 have 800. That's credit score high tonight. So let's go ahead and put our hands together like Father do for our own Coach Dawg.
Pressing this button right here.
Because I felt like the people here understood me a little more. At least I felt like that. But I came to realize that it's a whole other type of problem as well there. So the problem is really everywhere on us and how we really understand how finances go.
What's that?
I started off as a barber. Back when I started off as a barber, I worked at Hair Masters, Spa Center. And I have my own barbershop called
Listen the whole motherfucking day.
And I had a problem. Like my problem was I needed to get access to some money.
Finance and workshop.
You know, most small businesses you need money. And I went to the bank. The bank was not here today, but the bank is my client today. So I went to the bank and I asked the banker for some money. I was probably making $4,000 or $5,000 a week. And I needed more money to scale that business, right? You know, we needed more money to scale. Before I went there, I would borrow money from my uncle. And I thought he was doing me well. He would borrow me 600, 610, why don't you go pay these couple collections off and come back and see me, right? So I did exactly what the banker asked me to do. I paid those couple collections off, I came back to see her, and my scores were still about the same, 600, 610. And she said, well, Bob, we still can't do nothing for you. But, maybe you should try some other things and come back and see me. And I did that, but what I realized is that a lot of the bankers don't understand how it works. Right? That the banks don't teach them how this process really works. And we have some bankers, some great bankers in the audience too today that I definitely want you guys to meet and talk with. Some bankers I've been working with over a period of years that's been doing great things for our community. TJ, that microphone. Yeah, and so I didn't get the loan. And so I studied to figure out how does this thing work. And I thought I was pretty smart. And so I figured it out, right? I used my family as, for lack of better words, guinea pigs on how the process works with disputing and adding things to the credit report in a strategic way to make it potentially make sense. So what happened was this. I see the credit report. This is what blew my mind. I see the credit report change from about a 600 to about a 750 or 760 in just one day. Y'all follow me? So when I seen that happen, I understood that the way credit works is based off the information that's there. And so if we understand how that works, it could be better for us, right? Because I hope we know that interest rates, right, a lot of times is based on our score. So what we pay for a house, what we pay for a car, a lot of times can be based on that. So for example, if me and brother Ben stayed on the same block and, let's say it's a $300,000 house, Ben could be paying $3,000 a month, or I'm paying $2,000 a month because my credit score is better, right? And so we have to do a better job at making sure that we look into that. And I'm going to break a lot of that down for us today. So today's lecture is called Plant Your Financial Seed. My objective today is to make sure that everybody that leaves today leaves with something. If you don't leave with anything, pull me to the side. Because if you don't get anything today, then I'm not doing my job. And Khalif and Russell might not have me come back again. Right? So, next slide, please. So, the first thing is, where's my inheritance, right? It says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So, I really don't think we've been doing such a great job at leaving inheritance to the ones behind us, and I think it's because we never really understood how to plant that financial seed. And so, a lot of times inheritances don't necessarily have to be money. So the inheritance that I plan to leave is something that's in your mind, right? An understanding that nobody can take from you. That's what I want to create. That's what I want to do. So, this is a thought I have, like that planting a seed. Let's say it's an apple seed or orange seed, right? Like if you plant that seed, it produces fruit. Right? Yes, it produces fruit, and that fruit can produce forever unless you cut the tree down. So, why is it so hard for us to plant a seed and continue to let it grow? We cut the tree down when it comes to money. A lot of times we go broke because we cut our mental financial tree down. If I gave you $10 and told you never to touch it, in 10 years it would still be $10. But for some reason, we go in there and we mess things up. Yeah, we really mess things up. We spend all of our money, we don't have a plan, right? When are we going to set something to the side and say, we're not going to touch it? Or maybe we say we're only going to touch 10%. You don't have to start with $1 million. Start with $1. Just start with $1. That's your seed. That you never going to let that $1 turn to zero. we're tricking our own self. So let's think about leaving an inheritance. And another thing, I talk to many clients, and a lot of time we have these dreams that we want to leave something for the kids. And I get that, and we should. And so we don't have to leave the kids a whole bunch of real estate, a whole bunch of cars, because most of the clients I've dealt with or had things given to them by their parents, they lost it. Or they're not ready to take care of it. So what I'm saying is, if you have that idea, let me correct that. If you have an idea, we want to leave them something. It can be insurance. You don't have to be a big real estate mogul to leave something for the kids. It can be just something called insurance, if that's what you want to do. Right? And so, next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so I see the bankers know and the big boys know that in the world of credit and financing, we like an infant. When I look at us, I understand that we don't know. I have to talk to us sometimes just to get to a point in your brain, just so you can balance out, so I can figure out where's the disconnect. What wrong information do you have so we can get to the right information? See, the banks know. In the bank's eyes, we just like the slide. We like little children, especially from the business standpoint. They know you don't understand how credit works. They know you're going to call them when the business needs a whole bunch of money or some money. And if your credit ain't right, they're going to charge you mafia fees. And most of the time, you're going to take it. You know why you're going to take it? Because you really need it. There's something today called 0% interest. Most of my businesses don't even look at 0%. They're paying an average of 12 to 15% interest on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, banks are giving away 0% all across the board. Johnny, you have 0% over there at US Bank? Got 0% products at US Bank? Yeah, and so we have to start understanding, we have to plan ahead. We have to start planning ahead. The banks know, and they know that we don't understand. So when you look at this, I remember when we didn't have to pay for water. Some of y'all might be too young, but water was never even a cost. Now water is almost costs as much as gas. And they know we don't know. When you look at this slide too, some of the young ones may not know this, but y'all remember when the dollar or the money sign used to have two lines? Right? And the slider had two lines. Now, everywhere you look, it's only one. They changed money on us and we didn't even know. I didn't get that memo. Somebody got that memo, y'all let me know. But I remember when the dollar it had two. Yeah, it had two. Next slide. So, this is interesting. It says that families in general do not discuss wealth. Only 4% of families have regular meetings to discuss money matters. 4%. Right? While 45% of families say wealth is never openly discussed. It's incumbent on the bodies, therefore, to take the first step and engage in the whole family. Man, we don't talk about money amongst us. How are we going to understand how it works if we never had the talks or the discussions? I have clients that's married that don't know how much the other will make. Y'all follow me? So, if your friend went and got a loan and she got a great loan at a great rate, she probably ain't telling nobody. She ain't telling you or to help, so you can be helped to go get that great loan and that great rate. It's like this secret society around here about this money that we really don't have, that we really don't know nothing about, and we're paying a whole bunch for it. Next slide. What financial future is in store for the babies? What we're going to do for the ones behind us, because it's all coming behind us. And that's for sure. The question is, what are we going to do? Right? Because they want it. Imagine our 16, 17-year-olds knowing that, hey, I have an opportunity to be in business. I have some ideas that I want to express, and I can express talked about, we had a young lady that we worked with, his granddaughter, and she was 18 years old, and just with just some simple things, her score was 800. Right? She here today, John. Raise your hand, John. Y'all give her a round of applause just for following instructions. Because one of the hardest things that I've seen with us is following instructions. We don't want to follow up, we don't want to follow through. We think we know everything, and can't nobody tell us nothing. We have to stop that. We have to be students. So Jonica got to the 800, which was great, which shows that it can happen. When my son was 19, his scores was about 780. He had access to about $200,000 in working capital. He had 2 vehicles in the business name at 19. So what does that mean? That means that every young man at that age, every young woman at that age can have it. Now the question is, what are they going to do with it? Right? Are we going to take them through the process the right way so they can make it where they need to make it? Right? I get some people that like, that's too much money for them young folks. They don't need it. Come on, man. When we was young, we messed up too. We messed up some money. Y'all think we should give them a chance, give them a shot? Let's support them. Let's put some programs together and some things. Listen, this is a blueprint. It's a serious blueprint. If you get us 10 young people that's 17, 18, and they walk through the program or the information, they all end up with A1 credit. They all end up with a great business, with a great business profile and access to capital. Now the question is, what you gonna do with what you got? So it's important. Next slide. So I get this a lot because I know I'm supposed to talk about home ownership. And most of the programs I see on home ownership, they're like dinosaur, or like they're not really, they don't have the deliverables intact well enough to get us to get into the home. Right? But there's some real simple things. We should, listen, to get a home, normally it only takes about 3 to 12 months. This is what I push. Because when I talk to people and I say, well, when are you trying to get a house? Yeah, I want to get my own house. I say, okay, when do you want to get the house? In about 3 or 4 years. That's a long time down the road. Why so long? Because they don't understand, they don't know how to really get there. They don't know what it takes to get there. Because we ain't telling them, oh, we get our house, but we ain't going to help nobody else. We're not going to walk them through. And the programs that we have are so shallow. They're very shallow. And the people that's working the program don't really understand really how credit works. So that those individuals can qualify to get those homes. So it only takes about 3 to 12 months to get a home. Normally, you know, I always say that you should have a 680 or better credit score. You can get a home with a lot less credit score than the 680. But I'm going to show you how anybody can have a 680 credit score, what it takes. We're going to go over that today. And then any questions, like the pastor said at the end, we'll do a Q&A. So to get a home, of course, you need to have a decent credit score, because the higher score, for those who don't know, the better the rate. So the goal is always to have a higher score, because the better the rate. The better the rate means this, because some of y'all might not know. The lower the interest payment, the lower the payment. The better rate, the lower the payment. Right? And a lot of times, more of the money that you're giving them go towards interest. The principal. More of the money goes towards the principal that you're paying out when the rates are low. So 3 to 12 months is all it takes to get a home. You want to get those scores to about 680 plus. You also, it's like for those that don't have history, like a lot of times with homes, they want you to have some history. So some people say, well, I have to wait because I have to get this history. So like if you pay rent on time, they have a place called Rental Karma, right, or Rent Reporters. They'll backdate and give you history. And a lot of times that'll help boost your score right away as well. So those of you that's looking or thinking about getting a home or know right? Y'all probably should just write this in your notes on your phone, because you should share it with somebody. Somebody trying to get a home, they can get history through what's called rental car. What else can they do? If they have somebody in their family, like if they need those scores up, you can easily have somebody in your family add you to a card, a credit card, right? To help boost that score up some. And I'll go into a little bit more detail, but to get a home, all you really need is history. A decent score and a down payment. In most cases, 3 to 5%. But there's some programs where you don't have to have any money down. I don't know if the gentleman from PNC is here, but he told me about a product that they had. I'm sorry, from BMO. BMO. Where's the gentleman from BMO? He's not here? Okay. He must have left. But in any event, okay. You do work at BMO. Are you familiar with their home ownership product? Okay, so they don't necessarily have to have a down payment. And then there's another brother that I would like to acknowledge if he might have left. Jamal, are you here? Jamal, brother Jamal. Brother Jamal, he was running a home ownership for men, a home ownership program for men. And he did it for, he did it for about 10 months here, right in the same spot. So I just want to let you know that there's resources here, and there's people here that can help. And even today at the job fair, I thought it was a great job of the resources. But we have to get the people to the resources, right? Even if we got to go to their houses, tell them what the resources are, because maybe they just ain't coming out. Like, we have to be more effective. So, like I said, at the end, we can answer more questions, but normally just to get that home, the credit scores just need to be decent. No negatives on the credit report. I'm going to tell you how we get all those negatives off the credit report. And then from there, you go to some of the banks and get approved. See what you want to do. Okay, next slide. So yeah, this dude. Anybody ever have some collections on their credit report? Yeah, some of y'all probably got some now too, I'm probably sure. Yeah. So, man, they know that we don't understand. So collections can come off the credit report. Let me start like this. I'll say this. Listen. In 3 to 12 months, I don't care what your scores are today. I don't care if you're 400 or 500 credit score. In 3 to 12 months, your scores can be 700. I don't care who you are today. In 3 to 12 months or less, right? How? By disputing every 30 days until it's off the report. So that's my recommendation, right? If you got negatives on the report right now today, then what I want you to do is dispute it every 30 days with your bills. Ask them to verify or remove this until those items are off the report. Okay? That's my recommendation. 3 to 12 months, I don't care what it is, bankruptcies, judgments, charge-offs. Every 30 days to the point, you put a letter in the mailbox, not online. Online disputes can work, but they're not as effective as you putting a letter in the mailbox. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to, whatever date, today is the day the 21st. Yep. So if you put a letter in the mailbox today, you want to get your phone and you want to put on the calendar, next month on the 21st, I'll put another letter in the mailbox. And those things will start coming off that report. So this dude up here, I got him to remind me of these collection agencies on how they just terrorize us. Our grandparents, they call them and they threaten them and say, yeah, we're going to take everything if you don't pay this money. And some of our grandparents pay on that money, not knowing that a lot of these people we really don't owe. Right? For example, if we got U.S. Bank in the house, right? So for example, if I had a credit card from U.S. Bank, let's say that credit card is a $2,000 credit card, I lose my job. I lost my job, and so now I can't pay U.S. Bank. So normally with U.S. Bank, not normally, in 6 months, they'll charge it off, and they'll sell that debt to a collection agency, right? And so you want to dispute it because really, do we have a contract with a collection agency, Khalid? we have the contract with U.S. Bank. Is that right? Not with this collection agency. So this is how we can get those things off the report. We dispute it every 30 days until it come off. I'm not telling you to pay it right now. Now, I'm not saying don't pay your debts. I'm telling you how it can come off the credit report. Y'all follow me? By disputing it. Okay? So, next slide. So, credit is checks and not checkers. It is a strategy mechanism. Right? It's not just, 1, 2, 3. And I want to break some of that down for you. Next slide. So, so Einstein is just saying you have to learn the rules of the game and then play them better than everybody else. So I'm gonna give y'all some rules, and y'all gonna be like these baby credit doctors in a second before I go. Okay, I'm gonna give you some of the rules of the game so that you can play a little better than most. Next slide. So this is a question too. Did you know that just one negative item on a credit report can knock it 100 points? Just one late payment can knock it 100 points. So I don't want y'all getting mad at the banker or mad at the bank because they did something wrong, so now you ain't gonna pay it. Oh, really? We're gonna lose 100 points. And so even in your strategy, we gotta make sure that we're not late, because when we're late, we kind of out the game until we readjust. So being late is out the question. Okay? Next slide. So I kind of want to talk about this, because this is very important, because I don't know if you guys understand this about credit cards. So let's talk about a credit card, and I'm going to start off by saying this just to give you a rule of thumb. Every $10,000 in credit card debt that you have, what I want you to think about is, it's about a $300 payment, okay? And most of that is interest, okay? So follow me. So every $10,000 is about how much?
300
About $300 payment, okay? And most of it is interest. So tell me, if it's $20,000 in credit card debt, well, how much we paying? About $600. Now, let's look at this slide. It says that, let's say, okay, so here it says that the monthly payment was $142. The balance, if you paid, is $9,858. But after the payment is made, and the next bill comes around, you only paying about $1 towards the interest, towards the principal. $1. So a lot of our money, y'all, we're giving away. Because what we're supposed to do here, anybody got credit cards? Oh, a lot of y'all got credit cards. Anybody got a balance on your credit card? Yeah, that's a big old, I ain't gonna say it's a big problem. Are we paying interest on those balances, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so listen, we shouldn't be paying interest on credit cards. We shouldn't be paying interest on credit cards. Why? Somebody tell, why?
Zero interest product.
We ain't talking to you, TJ. He knows too much. He been to the class. Why? Because banks are giving away 0% interest. So if you got a $10,000 balance on a credit card and you paying $200 to $300 a month, shouldn't you be going to another bank, U.S. Bank, and getting a credit card that's 0% interest and transferring that balance over? That's a yes or no question. Yes. Right? Because if you do that, you're saving a couple $100 a month. Is that right? Right. With just one move. I'm looking at people every day. Y'all so busy that y'all ain't even paying attention to the bottom line, which is the most important thing. And we don't talk about money. So imagine how much money we're losing just in the family, just by default. In this room right now, we got enough to pay me to come here forever with just the money that we're losing. We can build what we want with the people in this room with just the money we're losing. So we'll go down to the bottom. It says after 10 years of paying this interest, right? After 10 years, you'll be paying about $17,000, right? $182, and the balance is $9,896. So we gotta be careful. This is why a lot of people don't want to do credit. I get it. I was doing a lecture at the vet's place, right? At a veteran place, and one of the guys, he went off on me. He said, "Oh, credit is bad. No, you teaching wrong. You shouldn't." I said, I understand, sir, so why are you saying that? And so I have to explain to him how it can be used in a strategic way. Because credit cards is a strategic tool for us. It is. Because guess what? Credit cards is the only tool for us that holds the power of 0% interest. Did y'all hear what I said? So businesses have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. They can be rolling over to a 0% product and doing better. Come on, man. We got a lot of businesses that's failing because we haven't showed them the foundational part of how this goes. It's foundation to it. Next slide. Yeah, so I did a lecture, right, in California. It was about 60 people. It was all millionaires in the crowd. And it was a panel, and I was the global coach. And they said, well, what do you think is the most important thing for our black entrepreneurs moving forward, right, in the future? What do you think, coach, is the most important thing? And I stood up and I said, by raising hands, how many people know the 5 components to credit? Right? It's about 50 people, 50, 60 people in the crowd. One person raised their hand, and it was the cameraman, right? So, and I said, well, that's it right there. So let me do it here. How many people here know the 5 components of credit? By raising hand. See? And then we lost. We lost the whole game because we don't understand how it's played. And so that's what I try to say, well, that's it right there. Because we don't even understand how it works. And this is what controls the number. The dollar amount we receive, the interest rate we receive, and we don't even understand how that goes. Next slide. So this is the 5 components of credit. Y'all gotta take notes on the 5 components of credit. You should know this. This is like elementary. We should be teaching our 15, 16, and 17-year-olds this so they have it here for the rest of their life. There's 5 components of credit. I like to look at it as like the family of 5, right? You got a mother, father, sister, and 2 brothers that's the same age. I'll explain that in a minute. So, the 5 components of credit is this. The first one is payment history, right? It's 35% of your overall credit score. Payment history, meaning how well you pay. This is why if you miss one payment, your score can go down 100 plus points with one payment because 35% is payment history. What's next? 30% is amount owed. So 30%, and I want you to look at that really as like credit cards or revolving accounts. So 30% of your overall credit score is really credit cards. Right? So if you don't have credit cards and you have someone to report, it can increase your scores. Right? But this section also, if you have a credit card, let me see, I'm gonna pick on somebody there. Brother Ben. Brother Ben here. So let's say, for example, Ben has a $1,000 credit card, right? It's the only credit card he has, and Ben has a 750 credit score, okay? And Ben has not used the credit card, okay? $1,000 credit card, 750 credit score, it's the only credit card he has. If Ben uses 500 of those dollars, that 750 gonna go down to about 650. Did y'all know that? Y'all knew that? Yeah, but most of us didn't know that. Most of us thought this, that as long as I pay it on time, I'm okay. I didn't say Ben was that. I just said he went for 1,500. Right? If you late, it's going to be really bad. But that section that say 30% amounts owed, it shrinks based on how much you use. You know how the industry say that on your credit cards, the bank said you should use about 30%. Y'all heard that, right? I know y'all heard that. That 30% is okay. I always want you to be at 10% or less. Because if you had 10% or less, it's a different score than being at 30%. Right? For example, if Ben has that credit card that's $1,000, he has a 750 score. If he uses 100, which is 10%, his score might be 730, 740. Right? But if he uses 30%, he might be more around 700. So what am I saying? I'm not saying that Ben shouldn't use the credit card. So let's not, I don't want you to get this confused. He can use all the money if he wants to. But he don't got no business going to U.S. Bank asking for no money if he used it all. Because his score is going to be low. So Ben should go and pay that card, right? Off, pay it, and then he can go to the bank as soon as they report. So for example, if we got a 750, he used most of the money. As soon as he paid it, U.S. Bank has a report date. When they report when Ben made the payment. Ben makes the payment in full, his scores go right back to 750 when they report. Immediately when they report. Okay? So 30% is payment history. And this is how, too, I'll give you a little, remember, 35 is payment history and 30 is amounts owed, which is credit card. This is how an 18 or 19-year-old can have a 750, 800 credit score. How? Because if someone adds them onto a credit card, right, that has history to it, and they're not using a lot of it, 10% or less, their scores will be there automatically. So we should put our children in the game. Yeah, everybody ain't gonna make it. I think we should come up with some more programs and some more things that are foundational for them so they have the best shot at it instead of just sending them out there. But it is here, and we're not capitalizing on it. We don't see it. So another 15% is length of history. How long have you had, how long have you had credit, right? It's 15%. Another 10% is the different types of credit. So the credit, we're talking 5 components. One of the components is the different types, meaning you got a car loan, a home loan, a student loan, right? You get points in that department. And lastly is inquiries. I think here it says new credit, that's inquiries, right? How much you asking for credit? You get hit by 10% for that. So you got two different kinds of inquiries, soft inquiry, hard inquiry, right? Which means that hard inquiry can affect your score. Soft inquiry don't. So if Dennis went and looked at Credit Karma or went to go somewhere so he can see his credit report, that's called a soft inquiry, so that wouldn't affect Dennis's credit score. But if you went to the bank to try to get a loan or a credit card, that's a hard inquiry, which affects his score. So that's the component, so that's very, very important. If we don't understand that, this is where we're going to mess up at. But long story short with all of this, if you got negative, they should be disputed every 30 days until it's gone. So now that means the negatives are gone, and then what's next? Add the right positive accounts. And then from there, we need to plan on where we're going to build our business profile, our personal profile, so we can push on with the future. Next slide, please. So, yeah, I like this slide, right? It says 2 things define you. Your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything. So, I've been helping individuals get access to capital for quite some time now. And I'm the coach. I'm the coach in the beginning until they get them 50,000, 100,000. Then I may not be the coach for me. So we change when that money comes in our hand. I don't know exactly why. I've been trying to figure out and work through that. But we need therapy. We need financial therapy, mental therapy. It's a lot of things we need. But we do change when that money hits a lot of us. Next slide. So, yeah, I like this too, right? Never go to the dealership. So if somebody got a dealership, no disrespect. Never go to the dealership for a car loan. Why? Because they're going to pull your credit report 7 to 15 times. Right? Because they're looking for places, most of them do this, they're looking for places to get you that car loan. Right? Because they know that it's a competitor right across the street that you might use if they don't get you that loan right away. So they hit up US Bank, Capital One. They'll hit multiple people at one time to try to get that car for you. So what I advise for you to do is go to your local bank and your credit union. They're going to pull your credit report one time. They're going to give you a check, and you can go and get the car at that same car lot that you was going to. That's the best approach because it saves the overall profile. Next slide. So, yeah, this one right here, like, that's student loan thing. So, I had the opportunity to probably look at 10, 15,000 credit reports. Well, most of y'all probably only seen a couple. Right? So I see things when I'm looking at it all day. I seen thousands of reports. Man, the student loan game killing us. Yeah. They eating us apart, man. Like really. And debt, 50,000, 100,000. A lot of those people can't get, a car, they can't get a house, right? Because the student loan debt is there. And then they play a lot of games with reporting the negative on the report. A lot of times we have 5, 6, 7, 8 student loans showing up. And sometimes the student loan folks say, okay, we'll defer you, you good right now, and all of a sudden they say, no, I changed my mind. Right? So what I want you to do, if you have student loans and it's in deferment, make sure you call every 3 or 4 months to check and make sure that thing is still in place. Because you would hate to be building a credit profile and doing great, and then all of a sudden just something hit it, and now you can't do what you need to do. And so, yeah, we knew that student loans and graduating from college was just so bad. It ain't bad, just a lot of debt. But there's a lot of programs that you don't have to pay for school. Like, I don't think we're doing a good job of making sure that our youth have the resources so they don't even have to pay for the school. I went to the job fair today, and I believe it was the ambulance. I believe it was the ambulance department that talked about. Yeah, I think it was them that said if you do an application with them, they pay for the whole school. You don't have to even pay for school, right? And so I built a curriculum called the Financial Game Plan. And so next slide. And so this financial game plan, I have the honor of being able to incorporate it into a couple of curriculums that's already a medical assistant course and a phlebotomist course. So it's a school called Alliance Healthcare here, and it's a 6-week course, and they have me come in for 3 days a month, and I teach financial literacy inside of that medical assistant and that phlebotomist class, which I think is awesome. I think all classes, all trades need to know how this works. Like a lot of us don't even know that we can go and borrow some capital from the bank so that we can build this business and do what we need to do. A lot of people don't know that it can be done because the resources are not there. So I just wanted to read this slide. TJ, can you read this slide for me?
Yes, sir. Who's to blame? Undergraduate and graduate school borrowers too often are not required to become financially literate. Undergraduate and graduate school borrowers too often are not provided access to personal finance, counseling, coaching, education, tools, and information they need to assess affordability so as to be able to efficiently manage debt and money to avoid repayment problems and pursue goals. Students need to be financially educated or given access to financial experts so that they can intelligently assess the affordability and formulate an informed repayment strategy and or plan for the debt they take on in order to finance their education.
Like we let our 18 and 19-year-olds, it's almost like we send them off to the wolves. We let them go get 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in debt, and we ain't able to no kind of understanding. Like zero understanding. Like, is this for real? 1920. They don't know nothing. My good friend Dr. Robert Files told me, so remember, Pastor, I was talking to you, I don't know if it was about my son or something, but you said, God, they ain't supposed to think. What was it, Pastor? He said, remember, they ain't even supposed to think until they a certain age. What was that? You remember? He ain't got to think until he's 45. He's supposed to just follow your instructions. Is that right?
We take this month, we talk about leaving it all alone. You got to continue to grow, continue to grow. And I beg to differ. God said about leaving an inheritance. You know, I don't believe that we should get so much money that they can't spend it fast enough. That's why mindset should be.
TJ, can you cut that air on? This is a little hot.
And that's where we got now, because I don't know, Queen Elizabeth, sons, they didn't have it. They got theirs, it's an inheritance. They're blessed, not blessings, they're blessed. They're blessed. And that's why I got my grandmother here. To learn, and they give it out to the Lord. So at 45, as long as she undiscovered, as long as she listens to me, she good. As long as they listen, when they get about 45, they talk. So sometimes we think that, if you talk like an 18-year-old, you got grown folks who learn this. You get this stuff right so that we can in the inheritance and all that, but he got to think he's 45.
So yes, so God said that they're under his covenant. So we need a covenant in the community. We need our own covenant, y'all. And we got it. We already have it.
Jewish buddy, my buddy, we got Jewish friends. This is about 2 months ago. The Jewish endowment, they come together, they bought that building. They gave him the money for the building. He just paid them that. We become the winner. That's what we got to get to. Now, mind think. You have to think like that.
Yeah, he said it. We need to become the member. And it's possible. I promise you it's possible. We understand it. We just got to follow through with it. Can I get that next slide? So this is the financial literacy district that they talk about. It says that financial literacy programs are known to have been useful. Many programs and policies have been evaluated and shown to be effective at imparting financial knowledge and changing behavior. For example, in a study of U.S. consumers with low initial credit scores, those who received credit counseling reduced their use of revolving debt by 12%, more than borrowers who did not receive counseling. They also reduced the number of accounts held, the total amount of debt, and the use of credit cards. In another study, low-income households in the United States who received mortgage counseling faced less than half the default risk of households who did not receive counseling. That's half. So just by understanding, that's half of the people we can save from foreclosure and losing their home. Can y'all imagine the psychological trauma and effect of a family having foreclosure and losing their home? The babies, everybody. We can save half of that just by giving them the right information. So information is going to be very important. It says that the council households also increase their financial sophistication and were better able to evaluate optimal behavior with respect of defaulting on the loan or refinancing. Financial literacy is important. Maybe the word just don't sound sexy enough for us, but we have to have it. We have to have it. Y'all think y'all know. Sit down with me and I'll show you how much you don't know. We need to set up the rooms so we can have conversations. Next slide. So a blueprint. This is all the stop signs letting us know. It's a blueprint. You know how you got a lot of just this way, that way? This is exactly what we have when it comes to this. We've already unlocked the code for it. You don't even have to figure it out. You just gotta take the class. You just gotta take the class. You gotta follow up and follow through. Because see, it's there. Even in this room, I mean, it's quite a few people I see, and I ain't gonna point nobody out, but I've helped. If I raise my hand, have I helped anybody in this room? Yeah, in the room. Like, so it's real and it works. But you have to want it. Right? Our next slide. Peer education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. I believe that because we have some great information, we just gotta apply it. I say that applied knowledge kisses the mind. Right? The mind needs love too. So let's apply what we know and move through. Next slide. So yeah, free medical assistant classes, right? So if you know some individuals that don't want to pay for school, right? So Alliance Healthcare has a free medical assistant class and phlebotomies. And this is the class that I also go into and I do a 3-day training. Okay? We're working on some things now for me to do some 4 to 6 week classes. We haven't finalized that, but that'll be coming in the near future. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little business credit for those, because I know we have probably some business people here, and then we'll do a Q&A. We'll do a Q&A, okay? So, on the business credit side, a lot of people don't even understand that there's a difference between a personal and a business credit score. And it is, right? A lot of people don't know how to build the business credit profile so that you can borrow money from the bank. Some banks won't lend you money on the business side if you don't have the foundational things for a business set in place. So a lot of us will go to the bank and try to get a loan, and the bank will say no, and we just think it's the end of the world. And it's just because we don't know what we need to do. I always say this, that well, one bank won't do it, the next one will. Okay? I always say that. I always say this too. We should have multiple banking relationships. Listen, y'all, one bank ain't gonna do it. 2 banks ain't gonna do it. We should have multiple banking relationships. Minimum 3 different banks that we work with. Some banks don't even lend to businesses or do business loans. So why would you go open that bank account? Some banks, credit card limits only go up to $5,000, but you got $1 million business. Why did you go to that bank? You don't follow me? So you need to know what products these banks have. What are you looking for? And what's the goal? Well, one bank won't do what bank won't do, the next one will. And so, on the business side, I just run down some of the simple things that we need to do. Of course, we know to establish the business. We get our articles of incorporation, right? Then you get your tax ID number. Okay, for those that's taking notes. Articles, tax ID number. And then we want to get a business phone line. That's important, right? That means we're doing real business. We also want to just set up a website and have a professional email. Those are the foundational things of a business. Once you have that in place, then you want to do business with companies that report your activity or report your payment to the Business Credit Bureau. So it's only about 5% of businesses that report your business activity to the Business Credit Bureau. So that's something that you have to be intentional about. Okay? So I'll give you a few companies like if you're in business, because the goal is to have a good business score, right? Dun & Bradstreet, corporate experience, business Equifax, right? And small business financial exchange. Those are the major 4 business bureaus. There's some more, but those are the major 4. So the thought process is, how can I get about 5 things to report over here? That's what I want y'all to have. How can I get 5 things to report to my business profile, so when I do decide to go to the bank, it look like I'm doing okay. I have a business score, not things reported. So to your business credit report. So that's two things right now that you got reported to your business file. Now remember, core to NAV. Now also NAV has something called NAV Prime, where they'll give you up to $500, right, line of credit, and they'll report that to your business credit report. So you use it, and they'll take the money right out of your bank account. But that usage will show up on your credit report. Now, why I like that is because you're not paying to get it to report. You don't have to pay companies and people, like they talk about these trade laws, you don't have to pay people to get that on the report, right? You just follow these steps. After you do those things, that's 3 trade lines. Now check this out. The other fuel, you can do it like a gas car, a couple of gas cars, right? Because we're already driving. If we ain't got a car, get a gas car tomorrow. Let her drive. Because we use it anyway. And I showed you how you can have a good business credit score without spending any unnecessary money. Y'all follow me? Well, because we buy gas, we need to see our business credit report and score. So that's the $50 a month. Now, you need to see that so you can start understanding how it works. Most of us don't even know how a personal credit works. So when we go over there, it's a little more confusing. But I'm giving you exactly what you need to get into the game the right way. Those accounts I told you about, you have a perfect business credit score, as long as they pay it on time. Okay? Remember this on the business side, like quarters was called a net 30. Net 30 means you need to pay it within 30 days. Okay? Pay it within 30 days. If you don't, then, you're going to have bad credit. So, next slide, TJ. Next slide, TJ. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to say for us, y'all. We're going to do some Q&A, and I just want to say that you should do something, right? Like, make the move. I don't know what's stopping us from going to the next level. Can't nothing really stop us. Can't nothing really stop us. You give me 10 people out here that follow my instructions, all 10 of them got tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of dollars in record-breaking time. It's just the information. I'm not a rocket scientist, pastor is, but it works. Y'all follow me? It's a blueprint. We have to pass it to them. So TJ, that's it, man. We're gonna do some Q&A. We can take do some Q&A. So you can bring some microphones out. We got Dennis first. Dennis, I'm ready. You got a question?
I got the mic coming.
Okay, mic's coming.
Yes, sir. I got to put the track shoes on first.
All right here, TJ. You can give me one of those mics because I can pass it to some other people.
So I got a couple of questions that kind of run together, John.
Okay.
And the first question is, can you have anyone here from the bank explain the CRA, the Community Reinvestment Act?
Anybody from the bank want to cover that?
Okay.
John, Tiffany, Rob, Jamal. Okay, Jamal said he'll cover it. Here you go, Jamal.
Well, let me just ask real quick so I can get mine out the way.
Okay.
So one is the
Jamal, come on,
Community Reinvestment Act. The other is, as far as for the bank, if the bank knows that when they pull your credit report 157 times, that your credit score gonna go down when you come to look for that car. Why do they do that when they know that that's
Well, that's not the bank. That would be the company or the dealership.
Yeah.
They're gonna go to multiple banks.
So but they know that every time they pull that score, your score is gonna take a hit. So why do they do it in that capacity? And then the other thing is for you, Darwin, is the difference between being a prime user and an authorized user on your account
Okay.
for credit.
What's the difference?
Yes.
Okay. You want to do the CR, the act, whatever he's asking for.
That one in for the dealership. The reason why they sent 17 different lenders
they also look to see who get the best rate sometimes. Because if they go across 6 or 7 different people, some rates might be higher, and then they can probably choose the better rate. Yeah.
And CRA is a Community Reinvestment Act. What that is if you have a physical location somewhere where you're doing lending, you have to make sure that you are actually offering like loans or things like that to the community. So if you have a brick and mortar bank here, you have to be able to offer. That's why they might offer like down payment assistance, or they offer these grants out here. But a lot of times you see a bank offer a whole bunch of grants at one time. That means they did a lot of discrimination and they got to make up for it. But when we talk about the CRA, we got to look at this president. So who's really there to enforce all these laws? Because it's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that will help enforce those laws. They shut them down like in January. I think it's like 3 people left in that whole organization. So the rights we used to have, as far as protection that we had, they're not really there anymore. So like when it comes to like fair lending, when it comes to discrimination, when it comes to all this stuff they're doing, it's not really there no more. So it's really important to listen to what Coach Darby got to say to y'all, because right now the bank's getting over on everybody. And nobody ever stopped because the bank's helping. We ain't on live, are we? Hey, can you turn the camera around 1 second? Can you pause it? Can you pause it for a second?
Pause
Please
for a
pause it.
second. Pause, please.
But really, the banks put President Trump in office. Let's be real. And they did that so they can get whatever they want. Because when they looked at it, they had a law that he did the first time he was president, where it was called Desperate Impact, where if they passed something that it would cost a black person more, like a discrimination that affects you more, but Trump had to do it through his courts, and he put on judges in. As long as the banks made a profit, you had no case. So of course they do discrimination, they're gonna have a profit. So that's one of the things they need.
So the Community Reinvestment Act is for each brick and mortar location. There's a specific amount of dollars and resources that they're supposed to allocate to each community based upon.
They supposed to be able to they offer that to you, so they have to make sure they are doing it. But this is how to make
There's an X amount of dollars that's allocated for that.
Yeah, but you gotta qualify for us, then.
Yeah, and it's still, but
You still gotta qualify.
they check it every 3 to 4 years. But it's how the banks get over on that. Then what they'll do is right before their CRA exam come, they go to all the subprime lenders and buy their loans they have in the community, so that they pass the CRA. So it's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game.
Yeah, we just gotta learn how
You
to
can turn the light back
play.
on now. I'm gonna go sit down.
Yeah, we just gotta learn how to play the game right. Like it can be played in a way to our benefit, you know, for sure. What was it? Another question we had, Dennis? You was asking what's the difference between a primary user and an authorized user. Well, authorized user is normally when, if I had a credit card and wanted to add somebody on there as an authorized user, that's what an authorized user is. So from an authorized user standpoint, they're really not liable for the debt. Like for example, if I added a person to my card and I didn't pay it, right? I was late. That person can still call and just get it off their credit report because it was an authorized user. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but
I just wanted to know the difference between how the lending institutions look at you when you have authorized users or
yeah, so it depends. Remember I said all banks aren't created equal? Some banks look at it, some don't. Some algorithms, right? Because I know y'all probably seen different credit reports. You got Credit Karma, you got Identity IQ. They have different readings, right? They might, remember I showed y'all the components of credit? Like Credit Karma might use 40% for payment history. That's why you'll see different credit scores on different types of credit monitoring sites. So it depends on the bank and who's looking, what kind of product it is, right? And also depends on what system they use to grab the credit report. Okay? Anybody else have questions?
I have one, Coach Darby.
All right.
In regards of small businesses, you were sharing about LLCs versus other type of entities and businesses. How does one access financial gain pertaining to a corporation when it's a new business?
Yeah, well, anybody wondering how does it apply to corporations? So, what I'm teaching is if you have an LLC, you have a corporation, or even if you're just a regular individual, it works across the board. So you can get access to capital whether you're an LLC, a corporation, a sole prop, but LLCs and corporations are better than sole props. I say it because less banks lend to sole props versus the LLCs and the corporations. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
As a small business owner, do you have any advice or information on how to avoid dealing with getting crossways with the IRS?
One more time about the IRS dealing with.
Accounting and how to, because I'm a small business owner and dealing with the IRS because in the beginning, I wasn't on top of taxes the way I should have been.
That's most of us.
And now I'm trying to dig myself out from that situation. So I'm looking for information on how to come from under the tax debt and how to strategize going forward so that I can shelter some of my income so that I'm not paying so much in taxes as a business owner.
Yeah, well, a good accountant will help, right? A good accountant will help. I do know that there are some programs where, you know, if you got a big tax debt, that they'll lower some of that. Like they'll, for lack of better words, negotiate or get that debt brought down for you. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for, but there are some, I think they call it tax relief accountants or attorneys. I have another young lady here that's really been helping people in the community. Like, first off, I want to say this, that we don't understand that a lot of our black bankers is really like, it's a lot of them that ain't really with us, but there's a lot of them, man, that's unsung heroes. Like, that's really been helping making sure that the stuff go through and pass through. Like, a lot of them, Johnny, Rob, we got Tiffany, that's what I was going to tell you about, and some others that's in the room. Pastors?
I think a lot of times, I'm gonna be transparent. Asking questions like you gotta go to invest in somebody. Most of our person go here. So it's in the shoebox. And you just let everything go away. So you get a tax situation. So when you get an IRS, man, we know how to figure. We know how to figure. Right? So you get a good account. You pay for a good account. Secondly, we go to the barber shop, get down. You can't get your personal barber shop. Like here's first by corporation, LLC. That's a tax.
next step is managing it, right? Accessing and manage what you have. Then we can start potentially investing in multiplying. But accessing is easy. Our management is important. Okay? Then we can invest and multiply. So I always thought I was pretty good at getting access to money. And I think I'm still pretty good. But I have somebody here that's better than me at getting money. I just want to introduce her. And I think I want to introduce her because, like Pastor said, there's levels to it. Right? So I'm pretty much privy to loans anywhere between 10 to 150, 200,000. But I'm also good at being strategic in approaches and a lot of in how we get there in the whole board. But I have a young lady that's been helping, like I said, unsung hero, helping some of our businesses get, thousands, millions of dollars, not thousands, millions of dollars in loans from the SBA and other lenders. And I just wanted to introduce her. Maybe she wanted to say something for 1 or 2 minutes. And maybe she can share maybe a project or 2 that she worked on. But what I really like about her is her ability to figure out what's going on. Like a lot of people in the lending space, they don't care. Like, nope, you're gonna make it, but she'll ask the right questions. She'll make sure that you get there if you got the right tools. Right? And then she'll say, well, let's start you off now. I think we can help you get about 400,000 or 500,000, but you'll have to do this and this for about 6 months to a year. Then we can get you to 2 or 5 million, right? And she understands and she has the working relationship. So I just want her to just say hello, maybe speak. Her name is Tiffany, Miss Tiffany Williams.
So my name is Tiffany. I'll tell you about some of the projects that I've done that you guys might be aware of, just maybe a couple. The Upper Yard location is one of my favorites because it's a brother. We started off at, you remember going, I don't know if any of you guys go in and dine, but remember it was in that little location there. Then we went up the street and jazzed it up a little bit, and then now this gentleman owns. Because I have to remain confidential, I can't say the amounts, but big, we talking about big numbers, okay? But he bought some real estate in downtown Milwaukee. That was so big for me because a lot of the history of Milwaukee is people that look like us don't usually get to purchase that real estate. And then Starbucks is everywhere now, right? See that liquor store? Yeah, I grew up in that neighborhood, had a relationship with the owner, and was telling her about what I do. And a little bit about me. I used to own a franchise, so I was a young girl, decided to jump out there because I wanted to own a business. I had been laid off from AT&T and was like, y'all, this is the second time y'all landed me off. I'm taking my money and doing something. So I decided to open an Anytime Fitness as a young lady and started to go through all of the chains of what we deal with as young Black people, and barriers holding us back. But one thing that I picked up on was that when I was going into that franchise, just because it was that franchise and because I had at least a 700 credit score, the government was willing to give me money. What? Okay, so I was writing in my little notebook how it all went and said, I'm getting money to my people. I'm getting money to my people. And I've been getting money to my people since 2015. I'm really proud of it. But yeah, so I was talking to a young lady, a daycare owner, and I usually pitch and just say, listen, 700 credit score and just a profitable business, you don't even have to make a lot of money. You can get up to 250K. If you make even more, right? If your business is very healthy and it actually nets even more, now you can get up to 500K of collateral, right? So usually we're going for something like that first. Once we get you there, if you're doing right by the money, you can get your millions and expand it however big you want to be, right? So, yeah.
All right, come on, y'all. Let's give Tiffany a round. Tiffany When she's on the phone trying to get those details from the person, she do not play.
Quick question, what
Yeah.
bank is she working for?
Allied Business Limited. Yeah, my agency.
Allied Business Limited. Yeah, so any questions? You can stay up if you want to, because I know your line have a question for you.
If you were,
Okay, we got a young lady in the back. Yes, is that Charlene?
yes.
Okay, Charlene.
I didn't really have a question. I was going to answer the guy about the tax question. I wanted to add on to that. He was asking about the debt. So, okay, if I could elaborate on that.
You want to, okay, yeah, briefly.
Very brief. Just do an offer and compromise and then lower the tax debt. And then as far as tax shelter, there's such a thing as a corporate trust that you can add on top of your entity to get different tax benefits.
Okay, offer and settlement.
Offer and compromise.
Offer and compromise, okay. That's a corporate trust potentially go in. Thank you, Ms. Charlene.
And a corporate trust.
And a corporate
That's
trust.
another layer on top.
So maybe you can have a conversation with her, and then maybe she can talk, because she was an accountant. All right, Charlene, tax accountant.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Darwin, if you have Darwin's information, you can definitely reach out to me through Darwin, or you can reach out to me and just let me know that we met here. But yeah, it's Tiffany.
Well, y'all need to call me first, 'cause I need to make sure, like, I don't send anybody to Tiffany unless I've looked over their profile and the details, because she really don't have time to play. Right? I don't have time to play too, don't get me wrong. Yeah, so she lends. If you have a business and you're looking for access to money. Yeah, so when you say real estate, is this, you want to answer that, Tiffany?
Well, it just depends on what kind of real estate you're looking for. Some people already have
So let me ask you, so what's the problem? What are you trying to accomplish? Okay, I get that. So what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Yeah, so that'll be more my field than Tiffany's, right? So me and you can get on the call, and I'll be able to tell you how you can potentially do some adjustments to get that ratio to look well enough to get the loan from the banks. I understand. You just need to do some tweaking. I understand. You're going to get my information. We'll take care of that. That sounds like an easy fix. Anybody else have a question for me or Tiffany or Jamal? It's bankers here. Miss Rhonda. Is Miss Rhonda here? That's Miss Rhonda. Hey, Miss Rhonda from PNC is here. So if y'all got questions, y'all can ask a couple. And we're not going to leave when the questions is over, because some of y'all might just want to pull me to the side because y'all don't want everybody to know y'all business. Or y'all might want to pull her to the side. But let's communicate. Let's build some relationship so when we outside of here, we know who's who. Yes.
So my question was about building a business strategy. You mentioned 12 as net 30. How many net 30 or net 40 do you need to help build your business strategy?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say necessarily that it's a certain amount that you need, more than saying this, that you want to have things on the credit report, about 5 or 6. Same thing on the personal credit report. You want to have about 5 or 6 things on there to just activate it so that you have different things on there. So, and I say that because maybe they don't have to all be net 30s, but 5 to 6 accounts to the business profile. Okay. Yes, yes?
There's different credit systems that they pull. Is that different from like the girls like
Oh no, so for example, Credit Karma use, I believe it's like one called the Beacon system, right? So it's different. So you got FICO. Everybody heard of FICO, right? The Fair Isaac Company. So FICO is a scoring model. So that's what it is. It's a scoring model. So FICO looks at all the information about you on your credit. FICO does, and it generates a score. So Credit Karma uses something that we call Beacon, and they look at all the information and they'll generate a score. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, scores always affect your rates. Yeah, scores normally affect your rates, but what is it that you within that I'm not explaining properly? It's just one might have a score 720, and then the other, like Credit Karma might say 720, while Identity IQ may say 700. All the same information. It's just the way, it's just the algorithm or that score model that company uses is why that score is different. That doesn't mean, because the bank is going to use a different score model. You follow me? So the bank score may be different from what they see in. The main objective is make sure you don't have anything negative on the credit report, that your credit cards are 10% or less, right? Those are the main things about credit. Pastor?
One thing too, I had somebody that a dollar. If I'm going to get money from US Bank, if I'm going to get money from US Bank, he already knows which one they pull, which credit score they use and all that. That's like if I'm going to American Express, they pull what? They pull all of them.
American Express normally put Experian.
So you have to know that. You have to know. Before I even go in there and sit down, you should know. This is the thing.
He gonna come see me before he gonna sit down.
Before I sit down, I go see that's me. I go in there, I say, okay, who they pull from? You down south, you get a bank, wherever that bank is pulled from, you should know which one they gonna pull. Some of them ain't gonna pull Experian, some ain't gonna pull Trans-Trade, because they're not Trans-Union State. So whatever state, whatever that business is, so it's good to have somebody before you sit down, do your homework. Right? Now, have somebody do that. Like, if y'all come to town, people know we go to the bank, check in their products out, what product they have. So when you call up, you say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Who lives to that? Some people may not live to a daycare. Some this bank, man, ain't going to PNC. PNC don't live with property, real estate. Y'all doing that? They don't do it.
See? PNC don't do real estate.
They don't do real estate. I don't care. It's fine. PNC rented, had the space in the building, and the guy couldn't get them off PNC. And they were the tenant. I think that's not bad, but you have to know, some banks don't want to do business. Like SBA won't do business with McDonald's, because McDonald's won't sign off as a franchise. They won't, so I can't come in from McDonald's, I can't go in. So if you know that, when you sit down, guys, I'm telling you, this is chestnut checker when you say that. So you think you know, but when I deal with y'all, I don't know nothing when it comes like that kind of stuff. Let me talk to Coach. Coach, I'm looking at doing this. I'm telling you, I've been riding in the car, a young man, he was older than me, but he worked for me, and he was moving back to Colorado. He wanted to get a house, the bank told him to wait till you move back. That's the best thing to do, get you from that. I caught these 3 years, I said, that job, it's gonna sound right. Who told you that? He was talking about, they told him to go ahead and leave his job. When he get there, then get the finances for the house, because he'll be there better. I said, you got a job now. When you get that, you don't have a job. Hey, in what, 3-4 weeks, he had the house he wanted. They told him he couldn't do it. So
Yeah,
those
strategy is important, y'all.
yeah, so exactly. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm not trying to sell. It's sell itself. Once you start to do it, and it's worth what you pay for. It's worth what you pay for. It's worth whatever it costs. We want something free, and you know what? When you get it free, it's always suspect. Always suspect. So that's the piece I'm trying to say.
All right, so listen, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna be around, Pastor will be around for a couple of minutes. We're gonna play some music, some hands. Hey man, great.
Thank you. Okay. Be safe out there.
$20 if y'all want one of my books on like the credit card. All right, Pete, Jay. Come on, man.
Milwaukee.
I can give you my number.
Milwaukee. Coach. Beat Milwaukee. We got Coach Bobby Ward. We got Bobby Ward. Milwaukee. We got a lot of good information, so let's socialize. We still got a little food left. With Milwaukee. Come on, people, let's ask a few questions. Let's socialize. Don't forget to check in on the t-shirts. Hip Hop Week Milwaukee. We got $35,400. We got Classic Five. Come on, ask some questions for some information. Let's play those seeds. We still got a couple bankers in the building.
And the bar is open. And the bar is open.